Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel, I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today is day number 3 of Vlogmas, and I'm super pumped. I think y'all know what I'm doing here. If y'all been following along, you know that we are going to be doing hot cocoa bombs. We're going to be finishing making the domes, and we're going to be assembling everything, flavoring it, decorating it, making it look glorious. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. This is definitely bringing out my inner geek because I used to do this kind of stuff a long time ago. I was like a home trained cake decorator, and it was just a passion of mine, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't like super professional level, like I could never work for like Cake Boss or Duff or anything like that, but I enjoyed what I did. I think I did somewhat okay most of the time, but anyways, it's just fun for me, so I'm really excited. I'm also gonna be making some water kefir with you guys because I forgot I made water kefir like 3 or 4 days ago, and it needs to be changed out. And then what else am I gonna do? Surprise. I'll surprise you. But anyways, first, before we get started on all that, I need to get ready for my day. I'm gonna drink my coffee, take a shower, make some lunch, say goodbye to the hubby, and then we're gonna get started on everything that we need to do. I'm all showered up, coffeeed up, and about to be fed up. Sorry. It's like a taco type meat sauce. I'm trying really hard to eat like ketovore type of thing. A lot of meats, fermented foods is pretty much mostly what I'm really trying to stick to. And I got my bone broth, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my belly, and then I'll meet you guys back here for some water kefir. Yesterday I showed you how easy it was to make milk kefir. Now we're gonna make water kefir, which does require a different grain, different ingredients, but it's kind of like kombucha meets milk kefir in that it's almost as easy as kefir, but it kind of yields a similar type product to like kombucha. We have our finished water kefir, fermented rather, it's not completely finished. We still need to do the second ferment, but we're gonna strain it off. And you can see the bubbles are already kind of there, but we need more. Go. And these are the kefir grains, and that is my phone. So these are the kefir grains. They look a little bit different. Can you see these all right? They kind of look like gummy bears. They're very gelatinous looking. So pretty cool, huh? That's all we need to do for this part. Let's go ahead and make up our next, what was that? Let's make up our next batch of water kefir. This requires only water and milk. No, it doesn't. This requires only water and sugar. You really want to make sure that you're rinsing out all of the little grains that are in your jar. You can totally keep using the same jar. You just want to make sure that you're rinsing it out, because the hot water and the sugar granules are like death to these things. They like cause them to like, my understanding is that it basically causes them to kill themselves off. And so it can almost, from what I've seen, or what I've read many years ago, okay, putting in that caveat there, but basically it causes that, it can cause almost a chain reaction, and it can cause your grains over time to start breaking down. And so anyways, we need 1 cup of sugar. So I always use organic sugar. I just get it at Costco. You can get it from Azure, you can get it from wherever, but 1 cup per gallon. So if you're brewing a quart of this, you're gonna use 1/4 cup. Then you add enough hot water to dissolve the sugar. Don't add too much, because then you're gonna have to wait, which is not the end of the world, but if you don't want this to take a long time and have to wait for it to cool off, don't add too much. Make sure when you're doing this, you don't use any kind of antibacterial soap, either on your hands or on your dishes, your countertops. You don't want to use any of that stuff, because the antibacterial stuff can leave the toxic, chemically antibacterial type things will leave a film. And if you're trying to encourage bacterial growth, you don't want to use antibacterial stuff, because you're kind of defeating the purpose. Once the sugar is fully dissolved, completely dissolved, no granules in the bottom whatsoever, just top it off with water, leaving enough room for your grains. We're gonna check. I don't know if this, let's check. Stir it up and take its temperature. 83, 84, that's perfect. You kind of don't want to go over like, I'd say 85, kind of. Heat and neglect are pretty much the only two things that are gonna kill your kefir grains. And by neglect, I mean like neglect. It can take quite a bit and still bounce back, but if once you heat it too high, and I mean, there's some leeway with that, like you're not just gonna instantly shock it if it's 90 degrees, but like you kind of want to get it like a warm room temperature. Plastic, glass, wood, that's about it. Don't use any metal. This is a nylon strainer, it's not metal. And these are great, you can find them on Amazon. I'll link these down below for you because I think these are fantastic. It came with 3 different sizes, which I really like. They're plastic, nylon, it has these little handles, so you can, like I showed you earlier, you can just, if you do it correctly, you can just set it on top of there. These are just super handy. I'll link them down below because they're great for all kinds of fermenting type things. I use them constantly. Okay, so let's go ahead and top this off. There we go. And we're gonna cover this bad boy with a cloth. It needs to breathe. Old kombucha bottles work fantastic for this. This is not like the most in-depth, in-detail water kefir tutorial. I have one of those, probably a couple actually on my channel. I'll link them down below for you guys if you're interested. But I am reintroducing this into my life, and I figured I'd bring you guys along because it's fermenting and it's life. So that's what we're doing. Unquestionably, without any hesitation whatsoever, Robert and my favorite thing to make milk kefir with is dehydrated apples. It gives it a delicious flavor. I guess I shouldn't say that. I should say it's maybe not as our 100% favorite, but it's the thing that we've always had the most access to. It's what I've always made it with. But there are some other things that you can do. Dehydrated fruit is a fantastic thing to add, not melons. Oh my gosh, that was revolting. Dehydrated fruits like strawberries, pears, apples, just don't do melons. Trust me on that one. It was disgusting. You can add juice to this. You could add ginger. You can add fresh fruits. I'm not sure what else you could use. You could even just add some sugar to it and that would help it ferment. So the purpose of bottling it is to create and capture the bubbles. So you can see in here, if I can raise this up gently enough, you can see the bubbles. Can you? You can see the bubbles. There's some bubbles on the bottom, but we want to make that increase even further. The bacteria that is in this liquid now, it's been transferred from the grains. The grains ate and consumed the sugar, and you know, and here we have it. Bacteria. That's the super short, easy version. So we're gonna take the bacteria that is in this kefir liquid, we're gonna feed it even more sugar and get it to exude its carbon dioxide, and by putting it in a bottle with a tight fitting lid, we're gonna trap that, and that's what's gonna, it's natural carbonation. You can use juice. We use juice sometimes. So we're gonna add probably, I think I remember, it's about 1/4 of an apple. Use your own judgment. There's no real wrong answer to this. The more sugar you add to it, the higher the theoretical alcohol content and the higher the carbonation. It's all numbers. And the sweeter the end result, depending on how long you ferment it for. It's all just figuring out what you like. And that's the nice part about making your own ferments. You can make what you like. How you like it. You know what I'm saying? I should note here, if you happen to be watching this Vlogmas vlog in a different time of the year, if you're making this in the summer, be very careful. Flies, fruit flies, you don't want to contaminate your grains. Be very careful with it. It doesn't take much for a fruit fly to destroy your milk kefir. So I should say contamination is another possible source of death for these things. Now we're just gonna fill up our jars. And I would not necessarily, this is about every other day. Possibly, like this time of year, you could stretch it to every 3rd day. But I was just trying to I was trying to get these kefir grains going again. So that's why I made such a large batch, because I have a lot of grains. But I wouldn't necessarily, however much you and your family want to consume, within a 2 to 3 day period. That's how big you want your batch to be. This one, I don't know what's gonna happen with this one necessarily. I left my kefir grains in the fridge a little bit longer than I should have. It might take a couple of tries to re-inoculate it. So this one, I mean, it does have the bubbles, which are not naturally occurring without fermentation. So I would suspect there's a little bit going on here. We'll find out in a couple days and I'll bring you back. It's probably gonna be Vlogmas, I'd say probably today's day 3, so probably day 5 or 6. We will crank one of these open and test them out. And if by that point if at that point there are no bubbles present, then we'll just cut and run. But if there are any bubbles that have started to form, we'll probably just leave it to ferment even longer. The nice thing about water kefir versus kombucha or something like that is that this is easier to make. Obviously you saw how much easier that was to make. You don't have to brew any tea, any of that kind of stuff. It's fairly simple, and the SCOBY is less funky. It's less weird and gross, and also it is more of a bacterial ferment, whereas kombucha is much more heavy on the yeast. So, I mean, they both, I don't know if, I would assume this has yeast, I don't know 100%, but I know that the kombucha has one of the lowest bacterial loads, but its main thing is in yeast, good yeast. They're different ferments, but they're complementary. Both of them deserve a place in your culture collection. I'm gonna put all these away, and then we are gonna go and feed the chickens. It's starting to get to that time of day where the chickens get hungry. It's been frozen out here for probably the last 3 days, and so I'm all bundled up, and it's not that cold. So we're trying a new feeding schedule. I've always fed the birds in the morning, but we just started free ranging them, and so I'm feeding them in the evenings to kind of give them a little more encouragement to return to the coop at night. So I realized that I cannot carry both of these in the camera and vlog at the same time, so I'll see you down there. They see me coming. Picking up where we left off yesterday with the hot cocoa bombs, and basically I just need to go through, and I made all of the chocolate mint ones, and I made half of the milk chocolate ones. And so over here, just chilling on the thing over here. So I just left these ones in the freezer before I left last night and never actually got around to finishing them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish putting the rims on these guys. The paintbrush was not the best thing. This is the best thing. I know I told you yesterday it was, but I was wrong. This particular spoon is the coolest thing ever. So I'm just gonna touch all these up, and then we're gonna seal these up. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna decorate these guys, and then we'll kind of go from there. I have my pan here. I put it on the stove, so it's a little bit warm. Then you take this, put it on here until the chocolate kind of starts to melt. See? And then it becomes kind of like a flat surface there. So that's gonna be our bottom. And then we're gonna fill this guy up. This is the mint chocolate one, so it should be pretty easy peasy. 2 tablespoons of hot chocolate, 2 tablespoons of milk powder. Can't forget the marshmallows. I found that the regular, like the marshmallows that you buy in the store, they just disintegrate instantly. But if you dehydrate them, they work well, and then these teeny little guys work well also. But you can just dehydrate them and they will work wonderfully. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this guy, and just leave it on here until the chocolate around the rim kind of melts. Just like that. Join them together. Give it a little squeeze. And there you have it. It's now a cocoa bomb. An undecorated cocoa bomb. So I'm just gonna assemble all of these, and then I'll bring you back for the decorating part, okay? I've decided that I'm not gonna do these all different. I'm gonna do, every flavor is gonna be kinda similar. There we go. It's It's gonna be pretty similar decorations. So I just have my bag, green frosting here, or green chocolate. And then we're just gonna kinda go like this. The whole top here. Well, that's not supposed to spooge out the top there. Oops. And then a little bit of green. Little sprinkles. How cute is that? All right, so that's how, I should probably leave this open, huh? Okay, let's finish these 4, and then that's pretty much it for this one. So we take little cupcake liners and we put it in there. See? Isn't that cute? Anyhooser, I have a very long night of making these ahead of me. I will make sure to take pictures at the end of this and I'll put them in here so you can see all of the beautifulness. If you guys are enjoying Vlogmas, if you guys want to follow along with me on all of my gut healing adventures, as well as all of my homestead shenanigans, click this button right here. This is the subscribe button, so it tells YouTube you want to come back here. Up here is a video that Mr. Google Pants thinks that you're going to enjoy. Over here is my last Vlogmas video, and then up here is the Vlogmas playlist where you can check out all of the awesomeness for the entire month of December. Yay, Christmas Vlogmas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.